Hello and happy Saturday. This is More Than Just Task Management, your favorite daily podcast where we help you build a thriving business with me, Anna Angelova, business coach and consultant, and my fellow co-host and business consultant, Joris Minusfand. Hey, Joris.
Hey Anna, happy Saturday. Another beautiful first Saturday of August and our recap day.
A recap day and special birthdays. So happy birthdays to uh, people who are celebrating, like my first cousin's son, it's his birthday. Yeah, yeah. And
What's
someone's
birthday?
brother and someone's brother. So happy birthday. Uh, I know,
No,
not your stuff.
no, no.
Not your stuff. Anyway.
Every day is my birthday, like except for my birthday.
Yeah, when you probably wanted to travel. Anyway, changing the topic. Um, if you are a regular listener, you know that Saturdays we look back at the week and we share what we talked about Monday to Friday, a little bit of an insight, like what stood out for us. And this way we give you a chance to see what you might have missed and whether any of the episodes are interesting for you where you are right now. Because again, we would love for you to listen to every single one of our episodes, to listen to them, like, the whole duration and everything. But at the same time, we understand, especially as small business owners, focus, 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 focus. If you're not focused on hiring right now, if you're not focused on onboarding right now, then some of the conversations we had, feel free to skip them. So here we go. This was actually, I think, in quite a while, the first week where we have a full week. We have a full week from the Sunday to today. And I feel really proud of us and excited about being back on track, being back to going back to consistency, to consistently recording these episodes and showing up for you and sharing the value and all the knowledge we have. And what we did this week, it all started with the Monday conversation where we were discussing the essential tech stack for starting a business. And to summarize conversation, you don't need a tech stack to start a business. If you are focused right now, like you're starting your business or thinking of starting your business and you're building a website, you are creating things like you're coding or something like this, take your fingers off the keyboard and go talk with people who are your ideal clients. So Monday was all about the tech stack. Yes, at some point you need certain things. You need a professional email, you need a CRM most likely, and things like this. But in the beginning, you don't need anything. Joris, what was your biggest insight from Monday?
Oh, I totally agreed with what you said. Uh, I forgot what my insight was, to be honest. But I agree that you don't need, like, when you're starting your business. We're not talking about when you're a year into your 2 year into. When you're starting, your focus is, even if you do it on pen and paper, your focus is sell your product, perfect your product, because nobody waits for 100% product to go to the market. So as you go into the market, the first 6 months you're perfecting your product. So spend the time on perfecting your product rather than creating a website. Even if you create a website, then you have to spend so much time and money to bring traffic to that website. So it's not going to generate you a lot of, unless you're an e-commerce company, that's a different story. But uh, like you said, focus on your business, on your clients, on selling, and do things in an Excel spreadsheet. I mean, pen and paper, I'm exaggerating. You want to be at least digitized, get ready for digitalization. But yeah, you don't need it. You don't need technology to start.
I think one of the things you mentioned on Monday when we talked about this was the importance of actually creating the processes first as well. uh, before you go and pick tools. Like really see how your business develops and like really develop the process itself before you add tech stack to it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Your process has to be sound. Your process has to match your business flow, and your process has to be scalable because once you automate, it will scale. And if it's the wrong process, you focused on the technology, it will make your failure even bigger, faster.
So if you are just starting, this episode is definitely for you. Go and listen to it. And we would love to hear your feedback as well if you have any questions around it or still wondering whether this is okay or not and how much tech you need. Let us know. Let us know. But this is definitely for you if you're just starting your business. Now, Tuesday, we switched gear a little bit, and it was in a way related to the conversation we had last week. So Tuesday we talked about delegating without losing control, and we covered quite a few things for the episode on Tuesday. And so if you haven't listened to it, and if you already have a team, if you are have a team like people you have hired, or even if you are outsourcing things to someone, like definitely an episode you want to listen to hear more about delegating. I would say one of the things that stood out for me is choosing the right person, like choosing someone. When you are delegating something, like choose the person who wants to do this, can do this. Like choose a person who I mentioned it at that time when we had the conversation, someone who plays. Like there are people who love doing, like someone loves doing, like working with technology. Other people love conversations. There are people who love being out there and knocking on doors and all these kind of things. Like there are people who love sales, people who love marketing, people who love operations, technology, finances. So find a person who loves this and who can do this. Joris.
Yes, absolutely. Delegating to the right person will mean success for you, and you delegate to the wrong person, and you'll definitely regret it. Absolutely. And again, we talked weeks ago. We talked about how to hire and with alignment with your mission and vision. And if you follow those and you hire the right person, then these are the right people where you can enable them to grow and delegate, and you move yourself out of the way.
Awesome. Wednesday. Wednesday, we got back to talking about starting a business. And what we covered was a simple system for client onboarding. And for me, the biggest takeaway, and I want to repeat this again, is that uh, when you think about onboarding, it's not just for online businesses. It's not just for businesses where like, you have a client, like someone keeps on paying and works with you more, that works with you for a few months or something like this. Uh, Onboarding applies and should apply even to brick and mortar, even to transactional businesses. Like there are ways for you to make that first transaction impactful and to start building a relationship with your customers even. So this was the episode on Wednesday. Like we talked about just having a few simple things and creating a sense of belonging, creating a sense of like validation even that yes, this was the right choice. Because this is the thing, a lot of businesses think that, oh, once someone pays for the product or the service, that's it. My job is done. On the contrary, this is where your job begins. Once someone trusts you enough to pay you for the first time, this is where everything starts. And having a simple, as you're starting your business, having even just a simple system where even manually you might send an email to every person who pays you with awesome, thank you, like we're so grateful for your business, this was the right step, and this is what's next, this is how to use the product, whatever it is, like having that even small simple step, small simple process in the beginning, it will make such a difference for your business.
Oh, 100% agree. Uh, the most beautiful point that you mentioned, the moment you onboard a client, that's when your business starts. And that's where you distinguish yourself from a valuable partner or just a one-hit wonder, one-time wonder that you will hit a client and you walk away. And you need to focus. You need to focus on that client, and you make the journey and the partnership as good as absolutely possible. And for that, you need to know, and maybe up to, I would say, up to 5 clients you can onboard, again with pen and pencil, or Excel. But you need a proper process for, when we talk about onboarding, we're also talking about care, right? Part of that onboarding is care. You need to care for that customer, and you need to know your customer. You need to know what their needs are. How do you, some of them, they want things fast. Some of them, they want good quality. They don't mind waiting. So you need to know your client, and you need to onboard them properly. And how you onboard them is how you maintain them, and it's how you keep them or lose them. So it's very important.
And I would highly recommend, if you missed that episode Wednesday, which was what, July 30th, July 30th, even if you're not just starting your business, even if you have a business already, an established business already, maybe this episode will steer some ideas, will prompt you to evaluate, do you even have an onboarding process? What it looks like? So highly recommend this episode, both for, like, if you are an aspiring entrepreneur, or if you are like have an established business, go and listen to this episode. There is a lot of gold in this one. And once you're done with the Wednesday episode, we had an episode on Thursday as well. And Thursday we talked about overpaying for software. So how do you know you're overpaying for software and what to do? And I would say the biggest thing from that episode, like the one I want to highlight, is the importance of reviewing your tech stack regularly and mapping it against your processes to see where you stand, like how much of the software you're using, how it aligns with your processes. Like, are you using 10% of certain tool, but you're paying for like, you use two things, but you're paying for 20? Or are you using 90% of the available features? Like, do this regularly, and like this allows you to see where you stand, and this also allows you to do a bit of review and research and see, like we did mention that one thing that happens unfortunately is a lot of companies, they grandfather us at a higher price even if they have lower prices. So it's also a way for you to, even if you continue using the same software, to renegotiate and get a better price. And for us small businesses, again, even $10 here or there makes a difference. So yeah, this was the conversation on Thursday. Jores, how about you? What would be your biggest insight from the conversation on Thursday when we talked about overpaying for software?
Yeah, I think it's more like, I think you nailed it. Uh, Check your softwares, check all its features, check how much of them do you use, compare them against each other, see how much overlap you have, and you consolidate. You can go down to probably from 5 to 2 sometimes. See, because of, especially if you're a business that grew fast, too quickly, there's like so much money coming in that all you need to do is like, somebody comes in and says, "Oh, I need to do this. Go get it. I don't care." Like 2 years later, you do care because now you have 15 versions of that. and you add all of that to each other, like you said, $10 matters. Now you're overpaying by 1,500 a month on software, where you can consolidate all of it. So, yeah, understand what you're doing. All of these stuff that we talked about throughout the week, it has to do with you understanding your business and having your finger on the pulse and knowing where your business stands at any given time. And that is the biggest success, not just delivery or not just finance or not just profit or the overall business health is what you need to monitor.
Oh, this is a great insight. And on Thursday, you did have another great insight. So if you haven't listened to the episode, go ahead and listen. Like Jores mentioned something so important. I'll just say the words and nothing more. You need to go to listen to the Thursday episode to find out what it is all about and how it matters. But ultimately, the words are total cost of ownership. So if you haven't listened to this episode, go ahead and listen. It is something that, like, whether you're starting your business or you have an established business, evaluating your tech stack and making sure you don't overpay. Like you wanna listen to this and start taking this into account. And which brings us to Friday, which was yesterday. And we talked about hiring versus outsourcing. Like, how do you know whether you should hire or outsource your first or next task? And we did cover a couple of things. Like we talked both about how do you know it's time to do this, and then also when you know it's time, then do you hire or outsource? And we covered quite a few things and dimensions around hiring, outsourcing. It was a great conversation. I think it was a little bit long for a Friday. My biggest takeaway and the thing that I would highlight is that as a business owner, while you can consider all these different things we mentioned yesterday, with how much control you want to have, whether it's a core business or not, whether it's a project or something long term, ultimately, this is your business. You know it best, and there's no right or wrong answer. So don't overthink it. If you know and when you know it's time to delegate things and have someone else help you, go ahead and get the help. Outsourcing usually is the faster and something the faster way. And at some point, hiring might be your next step. Joris, your biggest takeaway from yesterday.
Yeah, it's like again, it depends on your goal and what you're trying to do. A small project that's outside of your uh, purview of your delivery and of your business, core business, outsource it. Absolutely. You need your operational team that runs your day-to-day operations for the next 5 to 6 years. Hire them, and a lot of times, uh, uh, I think it started a while back. What is happening now? A model that is being offered is um, where you outsource it to a company. They do the project, and then they trim down the project to the support team that manages the whatever was left, and then you buy that. You hire them as your full-time staff. You buy the entire package. So there are hybrid models, but find out as a small to medium business. I think that's what you do is you look at again, understand your business, have your finger on the pulse, and know where the needs are. A small project, outsource it. Long-term operations, hire.
Love it. And if you want to learn more about it, uh, yesterday's episode from August 1st, we discussed quite a bit on the topic. So go and listen to this if you are at this stage of hiring your first or next person or outsourcing. So this was it. Definitely an interesting week with a lot of different topics, like topics around people, around technology, processes. And if you missed any of the episodes, if any of the episodes sound interesting, go and listen to them and come back tomorrow when we'll be sharing what's coming up ahead. Uh, so we'll let you enjoy your Saturday, and we will be back tomorrow morning with the next episode, kicking off the first full week of August. Thanks, Joris.
Bye, Anna.
Bye.